How's it going, everybody? This is the Stimulus Check Hub here to give you your daily stimulus check and unemployment benefits updates and the latest information. If you are new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. A like and a comment are always appreciated. Also, if you wouldn't mind sharing this with your friends and family, because I'm sure they would also like the most up-to-date information on their stimulus checks and unemployment benefits available anywhere on YouTube, which is what I try to provide here on this channel.
Just when we thought it was safe to come out of our homes, go back to work, and mingle with our family and loved ones, well, China has once again proven that this pandemic is not over, and they are having a variant that they're dealing with, as well as Europe dealing with, which we heard a little bit about, which is the Omicron BA2 variant. This is why Dr. Fauci is warning us here in the United States. Do not move too fast when it comes to taking our masks off or thinking that we're in the clear.
To many Americans, this feels like one of the better moments of the pandemic. The number of new cases, hospitalizations, and deaths are all down substantially. And just about everywhere, restrictions have been loosened and masking is optional. But the U.S. is still losing more than 1,000 people a day on average to the virus, 1,000 plus. And as cases are seen rising in Europe and other countries, some experts wonder if there will be a surge here in just a few weeks. I spoke about all of this a short time ago with Dr. Anthony Fauci, the president's chief medical advisor. Dr. Fauci, thank you very much for joining us. First question, where is the United States with regard to COVID? We know cases are rising in Europe, in China, even reports in New York City. Are we in for another wave?
Well, we can't predict definitively about that, Judy, but one thing is for sure, that we're still, as a country, going in the right direction with regard to the downward trajectory of cases, hospitalizations, and deaths. The caveat about that is that we generally follow the European Union, but particularly the UK, by a few weeks, usually 3 or so weeks. And if you look at what's going on, for example, in the UK, when you combine the increased transmissibility of the BA2, which is a sublineage variant of the original Omicron, together with the relaxation of cases, hospitalizations, and deaths. The caveat about that is that we generally follow the European Union, but particularly the UK, by a few weeks, usually 3 or so weeks. And if you look at what's going on, for example, in the UK, when you combine the increased transmissibility of the BA2, which is a sublineage variant of the original Omicron, together with the relaxation of some of the restrictions like mask wearing and indoor concern about making sure people are vaccinated, and then you talk about the waning of immunity, they're starting to see an increase in cases and to some extent an increase in hospitalization, even though they are not seeing an increase in necessarily in severity of disease. So I would not be surprised, Judy. The caveat about that is that we generally follow the European Union, but particularly the UK, by a few weeks, usually 3 or so weeks. And if you look at what's going on, for example, in the UK, when you combine the increased transmissibility of the BA2, which is a sublineage variant of the original Omicron, together with the relaxation of some of the restrictions like mask wearing and indoor concern about making sure people are vaccinated, and then you talk about the waning of immunity, they're starting to see an increase in cases and to some extent an increase in hospitalization, even though they are not seeing an increase in necessarily in severity of disease. So I would not be surprised, Judy, if in the next few weeks we do see an uptick in cases. The really important issue is that will that be manifested in an increase in severe disease that would lead to hospitalization? That we have accountability, but right now we really do need the money, because within a couple of months there are going to be things that are going to have to stop. But we're all in favor of accountability. No one is going to argue about that.
The other point that some progressive Democrats were making, and this ended up being one of the reasons the COVID money had to be pulled out of the big spending bill, is they're saying, oh, wait a minute, we don't want to see this money taken from states that were going to be able to do their own version of pandemic spending. Is that something that frankly, there should have been more flexibility on?
Well, I don't think I could comment on that. There was a lot of negotiations back and forth between the governors and the Congress about, I believe it was about $15 billion that was in there that was coming out of the states. And there was back and forth about whether or not that was appropriate and what the result of that would be. But I don't think I'm in a position to comment on that.
Just as we'd mentioned before, and just as Dr. Fauci just said, we have to make sure that we remain vigilant and make sure that we're careful when it comes to dealing with this next round of the virus that could come to our borders. We want to make sure that we all make it safely and that we do not have to go into quarantine once again, just like China and parts of Europe already are doing. Now, when it comes to looking out for us, though, there are states out there such as California, such as New York, such as Florida and other states that we've already covered that are giving out a form of stimulus or a form of relief, whether it be $500. Some states are giving out $400. Other states are giving out more than one check. But this state right here that we're going to be talking about right now is the state of Maine. And the state of Maine is going to be giving out up to $1,700 per household for individuals for a form of relief.
Maine taxpayers could be getting a check for $750 from the state. The reasoning behind this is the nonpartisan Revenue Forecasting Committee is expected to upgrade the state's general fund by approximately $411.6 million. Now, Governor Janet Mills is proposing half of that, at about $205.8 million, be given back to Maine people. Now, that's on top of the $411 million she previously proposed to give back, racking up a total of at least $616.8 million to be given out in the form of direct checks to about 800,000 eligible Mainers. All of this is consistent with the calls of Republican lawmakers. Kirsten Figueroa, the commissioner of the Department of Administrative and Financial Services, released a statement saying in part, quote, "These new revenue projections come during uncertain times nationally," adding, "Inflation has reached its highest point in 40 years, and Russia has invaded Ukraine, with potentially significant implications for both energy prices and financial markets." If the governor's proposal is approved by the legislature, checks are expected to go out as soon as July.
Now, just as we've been saying, we're going to be covering each state to see what monies they're going to be giving out. Most states, because of the surplus of monies that they received by way of the last stimulus bill that President Biden as well as President Trump offered in 2021, they have a surplus of billions of dollars to get back to you. And they're using this money to give you relief by way of inflation as well as the gas prices. So we will be keeping you posted. I know many of you will have questions in the comments section regarding what about your state. Well, we're going to try to make sure that we cover each and every state. And if your state is offering not just cash, but also offering other incentives, we're going to make sure that we get that out to you as well.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. A like and a comment are always appreciated. Also, if you wouldn't mind sharing this with your friends and family, because I'm sure they would also like the most up-to-date information on their stimulus checks and unemployment benefits available anywhere on YouTube. Have a good one.